What's up, guys? It's Jamar again, and in this video, I'm going to be making a tic-tac-toe game. This is a really simple JavaScript game, but it basically uses logic, and it's always good to basically uh, give yourself like almost like a exercise or like a almost like going for a run, like taking your brain for a run and sharpen your iron when it comes to basically code in general. And so that's what I'm gonna be doing here. This GitHub repo I made is called, I think, Tic Tac Toe JavaScript game, all lowercase. And so you can pull it from there if you want to. It's public repository. So here I'm going to just make it again and walk through it. I already have the CSS, so I'm just going to put that in here because I didn't feel like typing that out again. So really quickly, this is just everything gets reset, margin to 0, padding to 0, box size, border box, meaning that the border of each element and stuff is also taken into account, is measured. So this here is the actual container for the game, the tic-tac-toe board. Just a grid display with three, obviously, 3 by 3 when you play tic-tac-toe. So three grid elements, one FR, they're all equal. Background of blue, you can make this whatever you want. The tick box is basically each element inside the grid, so each box, so there's 9 of them. So it gave us some padding, a border of black, overflow of hidden, height of 250 pixels, just to give us something decent. Align the text to center, align items to center, meaning up and down for aligned items. Tick box item is this is like the strong element that's I use the strong um, HTML tag, which basically makes it bold, so it looks better. And this I gave a position relative. I moved it just to make it look better. Margin auto, font size 20 rem. Each rem I think is like 16 pixels by default. So you can also change that I think. And then let me see what else. Um, Restart box, display of none by default. Now that this will be a display of black when we actually want to show it. Width and height of 40%, margin auto, so it's in the middle. Border of none, border radius 10 pixels, padding 5 pixels. So and you can add a background to that, but I just left it what it was by default. So basically now I want to do HTML colon 5, and now I want to just change this to tic tac toe. And inside of here, I want to basically, well, before I even do that, I almost forgot to link the style sheet when I was making this. Um, and so I had to figure out why styles weren't popping up. Make sure I don't forget to do that this time. All right, so now let's do um, div, and then this one is just basically going to be the actual title of the website just to make it look neater. So I'm just going to say tic tac toe like that. And I'm gonna give this div. The only thing I'm gonna give this is style with 100%. And basically, I just want to do a text align of center for the actual H1. So I'm going to do text align center. Then I want to give it a margin top just to make it look a little bit neater. And that's going to be 1 view height. And below that, I just want to do an H2. And so this one is basically just going to be the timer. So I'm not going to put anything inside of here, but this is going to be the timer text like that. And I'm going to give this, we give it a style text align center, just like the other one, and margin top 1 view height. And then below that, I just want to basically do the player's turn, which is just going to display information that's useful to the players. So whose turn it is, who won, and once the game is over, if it's a draw or not. so on and so forth. So players turn like that. And I'm going to do another style tag, text align center, margin top one view height. And you can put this in a class so that you don't have to keep typing this out each time. But it was just, these are the only ones that I had to do that for. So that's all I did there. So there's two ways you can do this next one. The way that I did it was I just hard coded it, which you don't want to do, but I did it just because this is a small thing. But if you wanted to do it via like um, JavaScript, you can actually just add each element after you add it, and you set what you want to set to it using a for loop that you want and everything like that. It's pretty straightforward, but basically what I did here was I I basically gave it this class here, which is the game container, and I gave it the same for the ID. And inside of here, I just did a bunch of divs, and each div I basically gave an ID of a box and then whatever the number was. But like I said, you don't want to do it this way in like a bigger application. So I'm gonna give it a class of tick box, and inside of here, I just want to give it a strong tag, just to make it look a little bit better. So I want to do um, ID, and then I'm gonna just say tick text, which is kind of catchy when you think about it. It's gonna be the same for the box, and I'm gonna do class tick box item. And so I'm gonna repeat this 8 more times. So you can probably just skip ahead if you want to. All right, so let's go in here and change these. Play some elevator music probably while I do this. Man, that was cheesy. All right. That. Oops. And basically, after I do that, I just simply want to create the restart box right below that, just because even though it won't be shown, I need to still have it. So you can obviously do all this in JavaScript, but it's just quicker this way, just to like create it and everything. So we got the restart button. That's the class. Or wait, oops, that should be box. Getting ahead of myself. There's gonna be two buttons inside of the restart box. And first, I'm gonna do a H2. I'm gonna give this a style tag. Text align center margin top one view height, just like above. God, this is now the last time that I actually did that. I do it one more time. And I want to basically just say, do you want to continue? So I'm gonna say, do you want to play again? Like so. So, and then basically below that, I just want to do a button. This button is going to just say yes and no. So I'm going to have two buttons. So first I'm going to say yes. Let's just do this here because I'm going to put a lot here. So what I want to put here is basically do ID. So this is going to be the positive button. So yes, restart. And I'm going to basically give it a style. I'm going to say margin top one view height. Then width 100%. Just so it matches the same width as the form, so it looks a little bit more uniform. I'm gonna give it a height of auto. By default, I think it's auto, so you don't even have to do that. Basically, who's calling me? Let me do that again. There we go. Alrighty, so let's see, where was I at? Okay, so I did a height of auto. Let me actually put this on another line here, because so it doesn't get too far over. I'll just do one more. I'll just put it on that line. So basically, I'm gonna do padding 5 pixels and background color blue and color white. So this is like similar to button primary if you're using Bootstrap. And so then I'm gonna do border of none and border radius 5 pixels. Then I'm gonna just copy and paste this and do this again for the no button, just to make this look really good here. This one here. Except this time I'm gonna make this background red. So that's the only difference. And then actually here I'm gonna do view height, and I'm gonna do 0. So one view height for up and down, 0 left and right. So if you want to give this restart box a border, that way it'll look pretty evenly spaced and everything. But you know what? Enough about this. Let's get to the JavaScript, the nitty gritty. So basically, before I continue, I need to actually before I forget. So we're gonna just simply do that, and then source index.js. And so we can go over here, new file, index.js. And so inside of here, I just want to basically first bring in a few things. So I'm basically going to do var, and I'm going to do game container, document, get elements by ID. Then I'm going to do game container. Sorry about that. Oh yeah, that was the. Alright. So next I want to basically just do var restart box is going to be equal to document get element by ID. I just simply want to do restart box. It's dark where I'm at, so I'm trying to like see the keys here and everything. I type this, so yes, restart button is equal to document element by ID. Yes, restart. You can already guess which one I'm gonna do next. So that'd be no restart. So we don't want to restart. And I don't think I've done this in any of the games I've made before, but this one just simply is gonna close the window completely. So they don't want to restart. Now, you can already think about some of the actual things you can add to this. For instance, if you wanted to basically bring in a library or something to create a socket, a web socket, so that you can connect two people after you like get their information from a database, and then like they can play each other from like across like the world or like however like wherever they're at and everything. And so that's pretty cool as well. Just because like how you can obviously like create a leaderboard. So here this is gonna be like the box that I'm gonna grab for each one here. So like obviously there's more efficient ways to do this. Um, but this was just something I did because it was a small app, and I was just like when I was making it, I was just rushing through it. So I don't know why I'm typing each one of these. Let me just like that. No wait, let me get to the semicolon. Let me just 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. And actually, you can control D when you highlight it, and you can change both of them at once. So that's pretty cool. Um, I just love telling people about that because to me that's one of the coolest things. Wait, let me actually. There we go. And I always do it really quickly and then have to. There we go. 8. like I said, you don't have to type this in. I already have this source code on GitHub for you, so you can just pull it from GitHub and just follow along in terms of me like explaining it if you want to. So then var player's turn, that's gonna be um, the information that's shown like to the players. So this will be player's turn here. That, and I want to set a timer for 10 seconds. Now this is just like for if they want to like basically if somebody doesn't like go like quickly enough, the other player wins by default. I'm gonna set the interval to a number, so I'm just gonna initialize it like that because I want to set this interval or this variable equal to a set interval. Once when I create a set interval, so that I can clear it each time and like cause it to the game to or the timer to stop and everything. So we'll do start game here. This is our first function. Pretty straightforward. We're going to take the interval. We're going to do set interval like this. And we're going to do countdown, which is a function that I didn't create yet. And it's going to be for 1,000 milliseconds, aka 1 second. We're going to do the restart box.style. We're going to set the display to none. This just basically takes it off the screen. We're going to do a game container dot style dot display, and we're going to set this to grid again. This just basically sets that back to grid so that everything works the same way. Player's turn, enter text. This basically just sets that back to player one, just to show that it's player one. So that's it for that one. That just does a little bit of house cleaning, I guess you could call it. Next, we want to do function toggle player. This one is going to basically toggle that which player boolean. So we're going to basically do which player is equal to the opposite of which player. So it just toggles that. And then we basically want to say if which player, meaning that it's true. We want to basically do player's turn dot enter text. We want to basically do player one, meaning that if it's true, then it's player one, and you can swap it if you want. But I usually, if it's true, then I have it set for player one for this. Then you want to do the reverse, or for the other case, you want to say if it's not true, then it's player two's turn. So just that. And that's it for that function. Now we want to have our reset function for when a game is over. We want to reset everything so that we can do another game. So this will be which player is equal to true. Once again, because we have to reset everything back to its default settings. Timer is equal to 10 again. Then we want to do player's turn dot style dot color is equal to black, because when it's when the player's when the player won, it'll be green. If it's a draw, it'll be red. So we have to set that back. And then we'll do for I is equal to 0. Now, what I did earlier when I was doing this was when I grabbed the game container. Actually, let me do I less than game container dot children, which gets all the children HTML elements on the side of it. What I basically did was I tried to do a for each on it, a high order array function. But what happened was, for some reason, it just didn't work. This HTML collection, I think it's called, when I logged it. You see in the source code, I have a log statement above it because I was logging it, and so I switched it to a for loop. Maybe I did something wrong personally, I'm not sure, but I just switched it to a for loop because I was in a hurry. So children, then we'll do I like that. And then we want to say, okay, now this one here, this is going to be for each div inside of the game container. So each one of these. This next one I'm going to do, this is always going to be the first one because it's the only element in there. And that's going to be this here. So basically, we're getting this one, which is inside of this, which is inside of this. So that's basically what we're doing here. I know it looks a little bit tricky, but that's basically how to do that. And so I just want to loop through and set each one of those to empty to clear it out pretty much. And actually, I kind of went outside of that. You guys are probably yelling at the TV. Let me actually put that inside of here. Sorry about that. There we go. And so now what I want to do is simply start that game. So after we reset everything, do the house cleaning, then we can start the game, do more house cleaning, and then everything gets started. So now here I want to do function show end screen. Now this is basically when we want to show the actual restart box. So when we basically want to let the user know like that they can restart the game if they want to. So clear interval. This is what we use to get rid of the set interval. Then we pass in that interval. Now this interval that we set up here, oops, let me just do that. This basically returns an ID. So when we create this set interval, it gives us an ID so we can link it to this set interval. So basically, if we want to clear, we have to have a variable that has that ID, which is why I initialized this to a number so that we can use it outside of this function here. And so now I can just pass that in here. So now I want to do game container dot style dot display is equal to none because now I want to remove it from the screen. And I'm going to do restart box dot style dot display is equal to block because we want that to basically be like on the screen now in the center and everything. So we'll do function game over. This basically we call when the game is over, and I'm gonna call this choice. So what this is, we can have multiple ways that this game can end. So I'm gonna walk you through each one in a second. So we'll switch choice, and then we'll do case 0. So case 0 is when the time is up and um, basically neither player has actually had 3 in a row yet. So we'll do which player, meaning that it's player 1. We'll do player's turn dot style dot color is equal to green because by default, whoever basically the time ran up on, that means that they lose by forfeit because they didn't not by forfeit but just by inactivity. So that basically is what that means. So if it's on player 1 when this time runs out, then player 2 wins and vice versa. So then we want to call that show end screen function after we actually decide who won. Then we can do else. We just flip this around and we just say that player 1 won. That's kind of a little bit of a tongue twister. Player 1 won. Anyways, after that we also want to call our break statement. Make sure you don't forget that. And then we'll do case 1. This means that player 1 won again. So player 1 wins. And what we want to simply do here is we want to do the same thing here. If you want to actually unindent this, you can just highlight and do Shift Tab on Windows, and that'll unindent that. And then I just want to just simply say player 1 wins. Then we do the same thing. And then if it's case 2, first let me do my break statement. Case 2, player 2 wins. So we can do that one. Just there we go. And last but not least, case 3. And then what I want to do here is say it's a tie. Or basically it's a draw. And so I'm going to say player's turn dot style dot color is equal to red because neither person won. I'm going to say player's turn dot inner text is now going to be equal to it. Let's do this. A tie. Now, if you notice, we're getting an error a little bit. Oops, this error. I should say it's a draw, actually. If you notice, we're getting an error a little bit. And now the reason for that is because when we're putting the apostrophe here, we have to do a front slash like that or backslash like that so that it'll be a escaped character. So that's what you have to do there, and then show end screen. That. And we want to create a default case as well, just for good practice. So we'll just break there. You can do what you want here, but I'm gonna just do a break statement. So after we get done with that switch, That's pretty much it for this function here of game over. So now what we want to do is create the countdown function here. So this countdown function is basically just going to simply just count down. So we'll do timer minus minus, but that's the same as minus equal to 1, or timer is equal to timer minus 1. And then we'll just do if timer is equal to 10, meaning that it's at 10 seconds. Now this is just for this is just for format. So we'll do timer text dot inner text is going to be equal to template literal. So we want to use backticks, not single quotes. And we'll do 00 colon $ curly brace. Inside of here we put our variable like that. You can also concatenate this with just using the plus sign and everything, but this is the newer way of doing it. You can see it looks a little bit neater. It's a little bit more syntactic sugar. So we'll do timer text dot inner text is equal, and then we'll do our backticks again, 00 colon 0 $ curly brace timer. That means that it's a single digit. So now we can do if timer is equal to 0, then what we simply want to do is call game over. And remember, we call the 0 choice here because time ran out, and whatever player this is on when time runs out basically loses because that's due to inactivity. And so basically now we want to do a function of did they win. You'll see why this one comes in handy in a second here. And so we'll do if which player, and basically game over of 1, else game over of 2. That's either player 1 wins or player 2 wins. And then we want to do function check count. And we want to say var counter is equal to 0 because we want to basically have a counter here. And then for I is equal to 0, I less than game container, just like what we did above when we did it earlier to set them all to empty, basically to set all the strings to empty. And we'll do I plus plus. And what I just simply want to do in here is do if game container dot children of I, which gets that box again, and then we got to do children of 0, which gets the actual strong element inside of it. Dot inner text or not equal to empty string, and we want to grab this whole thing again. We can just copy that, and we want to say is also not null. We cover both of those cases, and then we just simply want to do counter plus plus like that. And so what'll happen is it just checks to see like if there's any actual there's any like actual fields that are still empty. And so if it's equal to 9, because it's 9 in total, then we simply want to do game over of 3, meaning that it's a draw. And so now, my bad, there's like an ant or something on the window here in the car. I was just looking at it. All right, so function check game. So here I'm going to basically, this one's going to be a lot, but if you have the source code already, you probably can just put that in there already. But I'm going to type it out again. So we'll do inner text is equal to box2 dot inner text and box2 dot inner text is equal to box. I just noticed I had an actual mistake in my source code there. I forgot to include it on the very first case. I had to change that before I basically, oh, it'll be changed before this gets uploaded. Basically what the mistake is, we have this here, meaning that they're both equal to each other, all three of them are equal. But what I forgot to put here in the very beginning was another one, which basically is just an AND statement. But inside of here, this is an OR statement, and this is just basically a box1 dot inner text is equal to capital X, or it's equal to a capital O for like basically tic-tac-toe, XOXO. So that, and this entire thing here, we can actually just copy, or if you have the source code already, you can just skip ahead. But basically, I'm just gonna say did they win, and I'm gonna just put that in there each time, and I'm just gonna do all the cases. So we got the two diagonals, the two vertical, or the three verticals, and then we have the two horizontals that we can check for. Actually, in the source code, I might have missed one. 'Cause I think there's three verticals, three horizontals, and two diagonals. I might have missed one actually. I'm gonna have to check on that. I might have actually missed it. It'll be fixed though before you guys actually are able to know that it's up, because by the time I get done recording this and upload it on YouTube, it'll already be changed. So I'm gonna just do this again just because it's not that much. So I'm gonna just say, so this is one, two, this is 1, 2, and 3. So this is like the first horizontal. This one here is 1, and then I'm gonna make this, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm gonna make this a 5, and then I'm gonna do 5, and I'm gonna set that equal to 9. So it's that first diagonal. Then I'm going to do this again, and then I'm gonna do another one. This time it'll be for the vertical. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this should be 4. This should be a 4. This should be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this should be a 7. Um, and then we'll do else if. And so now we have the vertical, the horizontal, and the diagonal for box 1. So we don't need to do that horizontal anymore. But what we do need to do is the vertical for the other side, as well as the diagonal for the other side. So the diagonal will be 3, and then this one will actually now be equal to 5 again, and then 5 will be equal to 7. Now that's that other diagonal. Then I'm going to have another one for the vertical on that side, and that's going to be box 3 again. Is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then box 6 is equal to box 9, and I want to do one for that horizontal, so we'll do, and there's two horizontals, there's one in the middle, so we'll just do box 4 is equal to box 5, and box 5 is equal to box 6. And then last but not least, we have that horizontal at the very bottom, and that'll be box 7 is equal to box 8, and box 8 is equal to box 9. And say did they win? And now for the else, we just simply want to say timer is equal to 10, meaning that we're resetting the timer to 10. We want to toggle that player to the next player's turn, and then we want to basically check that count again to make sure that there's actual fields left. And before we move on, so I did cover all the cases actually, I think. But before we move on, I do want to set this here. So this is box 1, box 1, box 1. This is box 3. I forgot to set that one, so we can just do box 3 like that. And then this one's box 3, so we can set that one. This one's box 4. And I forgot to change this one here. And then we'll do this one here, which is box 7. So once that's done, we pretty much want to do our change board function. This is the function that basically, um, that gets called when we actually hit that event listener. So we want to pass in that event parameter here. And inside of here, I want to do var box is equal to document dot get element by ID e.target.id. This gets that box, and it will do var box text is equal to box dot children, and then we'll do the first one. If which player, meaning that it's player 1, we're going to basically set box text. We want to set the inner text. Remember, this is that text inside of that strong HTML element. And you want to set it to a capital X. And then here, I want to do box text inner text is going to be equal to capital O. And then we also want to disable it. And you'll notice that there's a little bit of a bug because they can still click on the strong element on the inside, so you want to disable that too. In the source code, you can just simply do that by doing box text not disabled like that and setting that to true as well. Well, in the source code now it'll be changed because you'll see this instead of just seeing the box dot disabled. I don't know what I'm even doing. I was saying that. Anyways, it's hard because like it's like I'm talking to the computer, but I'm like talking to people in the future. So it's like the changes I make, they'll see already. So I don't know why I'm like talking like I'm like live streaming this or something. Anyways, so we want to set our event listeners here. So no restart button, which should be. Did I not bring that in? Oh, probably saw that a long time ago. Sorry about that. So no restart button. Add event listener for click events. We'll do our function. We'll do parameter of e like that, and we'll also do the same thing for the yes button. So yes, restart button. All right. And inside of here, we just simply want to do window dot close. This just closes the actual current tab, so that basically just X's out of the game. And if they do want to play again, we just call that reset function. Now this one here, this game container, when we set this event listener here, because of the child elements that we have, this is actually called event delegation. And so basically, yeah, I know I just like that name, event delegate. I just sound smart saying that, event delegation. So basically, this event delegation, this just basically sets all the event um, listeners for all the child elements. So basically, we want to set change. We want to call change board and pass in the event parameter. So each time one of those child elements are clicked, it has this function here that's called. So that's really important. And then last but not least, we just want to call start game, because if we don't do that, the game won't ever start. Because remember, the start game is what actually creates that set interval, which starts to count down here. So fingers crossed, see if this works. Alt L, Alt 0. I'm using live server, so. And you can see there, boom. Let's see here, we have an error, I think. Can I read property add event listener of null at 166? Let's check that out. 166. No restart button, not add event listener of null. No restart. Oh, called this yes restart by accident. All right, let's do that again. Alt L, Alt O. There we go. So you can see here. Let's just say player one wins. Bop. Player one wins. Do you want to play again? The time stops. Yep. X O X O X O. Oh wait, hold on a second. That's not right. Let me see something. It said player two wins, but that kind of took a while. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was a glitch because of I'm using my mobile hotspot, so maybe that's why. Anyways, let's check the next case. So I'm gonna try to actually trick myself here so that I can. Oh, let me do that again. That was embarrassing. All right. Okay, there. Boom, 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 boom. It's a draw. And if we hit no, it closes out of it. So it's a nice little project. I think that I actually covered everything the first time, but just in case if I didn't, I'm probably gonna have to push this to basically the repository. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.